Finally, I decided to tell this story. At first, it might even seem made up. But if you keep listening until the end, I'm sure you'll change your mind. That night, I woke up to a strange noise outside the shack. I thought it was just another dog rummaging for food. But it wasn't. There was something there, crouched, breathing heavily, as if it was waiting for someone to come out. And at that moment, I had no idea what was about to happen. If I had understood that sound, I would never have taken a step outside. And the worst wasn't what I saw at that moment. It was what we discovered the next morning. My father always said that life in the countryside wasn't for everyone. And when he said that, it wasn't just about the difficulty of working in the fields or the lack of money. It was about the things that happened too far from the city, in places where no one could properly explain what they saw or felt. He said it in a serious way, like someone who had already gone through too much to simply ignore it. He was around 26 years old at the time, already married and with small children to support. Life was tough, the kind where you wake up not knowing if there will be enough food until the end of the week. And that's exactly why he accepted a job no one wanted. It wasn't a choice, it was necessity. When the opportunity appeared, he didn't think twice before accepting, even without knowing exactly what awaited him. Before that, he worked for a while as a gravedigger in a small town in the countryside of Sira. But what he experienced there already seemed like too much for one lifetime. And it was there that the first signs began that not everything in that world followed a normal logic. At first, he said he wasn't afraid. The cemetery was silent, still, and overchimmy stranging. But one day, while cleaning a grave full of old remains, he felt something squeezing his neck. Hard, like an invisible hand. It was quick, but intense enough to make him lose his breath for a few seconds. When he turned around, there was no one. No sound, no movement, nothing to explain what had just happened in that isolated place. It didn't make sense. And even so, it happened. That happened again other times, and it wasn't just that. One night, he was lying in a hammock, listening to the radio, when a scream cut through the silence of the cemetery. A loud, desperate scream that came from among the graves, and then vanished as if it had never existed. Anyone who has spent a night in the countryside knows. When silence is broken like that, it's almost never a good thing, and the body feels it before the mind understands. But the worst was yet to come. One day, another gravedigger mentioned a body that had been dug up in the back of the cemetery. A man who, according to what people said, had become drafted dying as if Jimmy hadn't passed for him. My father got curious, even with a certain discomfort growing inside him. Something about that story didn't seem right, but even so, he decided to go see it with his own eyes. It was late afternoon, the sky was already getting dark, and the wind passed slowly between the crosses, making that low sound that only those who've been in a cemetery know. He walked to the back and found the open hole. The coffin was there, but the body wasn't. That made his stomach turn cold instantly. There was no sign of recently disturbed earth besides the opening. There was no simple explanation for that. And it was at that moment that something truly started to go wrong. He said he heard someone calling him, low, dragged, coming from right behind. The kind of call that makes your whole body freeze, as if something is wrong even before you understand why. It took him a few seconds before he managed to turn around. And when he did, he saw, about 8 meters away, there was a figure standing still, staring directly at him. It didn't move, didn't make a sound. It was just there. He said he didn't stay to find out what it was. His body simply reacted before his mind. He turned and ran without looking back. That same night, He said he saw that figure more times, always still, always staring, always far enough to give no certainty, but close enough not to be just imagination. The next day, when he returned with the other gravedigger, the body was there, inside the grave, rigid, intact, as if it had never left. That made everything even stranger. And that's when he heard a story he never forgot. The dead man's daughter was having nightmares. She dreamed of her father asking, begging, for his body to be burned, because only then, according to what he said in the dreams, would he finally be at peace. My father quit shortly after. He didn't want to push it to see how far that could go. And then an opportunity appeared in another region, far away from there. A simple job, opening roads in the middle of the forest, with low pay, but enough to guarantee food on the table. For someone already struggling, it seemed like a chance to start over. Without thinking much, he accepted and left that place. Without knowing, he was heading straight into something much worse than anything he had seen in that cemetery. The place where he went to work was lost in the countryside of Bahia, far from any city, surrounded by dense forest and dirt roads that seemed to lead nowhere. There was no lighting, no signal of anything. Just improvised shacks, scattered tools, and people trying to survive day after day. During the day, the work was heavy, but bearable. The sun beat down mercilessly, dust rose all the time, and the sound of hose hitting the ground helped occupy the mind. It was even good, in a way, because it distracted. It kept everyone focused on physical effort, leaving no room to think about other things. The problem started when the sun went down and the place sank into that strange silence. Because that's when everything seemed to change, and no one could explain exactly how. At first, they were small things. A branch breaking in the forest, even without wind. Footsteps that seemed to follow someone, but stopped as soon as the person stopped. The sound of something dragging, slowly, heavy. No one talked much about it, but everyone noticed. And the discomfort only grew as the days went by. Until one morning, everything got out of control. A scream woke everyone up at once. It was a woman's, loud, desperate. The kind that freezes your body before your mind understands what's happening. The scream came from the forest, but it was moving. It started far away, then got closer, then disappeared, and came back from a completely different point, as if something was playing with whoever was listening. And the worst is that no one ever found who was screaming. That scream's always done. Always out of nowhere. Some said it was a haunting. Others talked about something from the forest. There were those who swore it was the so-called Kaipora. My father didn't believe much in these things, at least not at that moment. But even without believing, he began to feel that something was wrong in that place. But he started to notice something. The animals were different, and anyone who lives in the countryside knows. When animals change, it's because something is very wrong. The dogs no longer barked at night. They stayed quiet, curled up, staring into the dark, as if they saw something no one else could see. That, more than any story, started to truly bother him. It was a clear sign of danger. The birds disappeared too early, even before the sun completely set, and the forest, which normally made noise all the time, fell silent. A heavy silence, dense, as if everything was waiting for something to happen. That's when the reports among the workers began. One man said he saw something running between the trees, too fast to be human. Another said he heard breathing very close. So close that he felt the air hit his neck, even without seeing anything. And there was one who swore he saw a creature on all fours, but too big to be any dog. My father still hadn't seen anything until that night. He woke up needing to go to the bathroom. The shack was quiet. Just the sound of wood cracking in the cold dawn. Everything seemed to normal, and that was no longer a good sign in that place. When he stepped outside, he saw there was something crouched near one of the structures, with its back turned. Still, at first, it looked like a dog, but it wasn't. The body was bigger. Too long, the arms or legs were not in the right position, and the way it breathed was dense and dragged, almost human. Actually, that moment, something inside him warned that it shouldn't be there, but it was too late to ignore. Even so, he called a coworker, half laughing, trying to break the fear that was already growing inside him. It was that kind of automatic reaction, as if pretending normality could push danger away. But when the friend got close and looked in the same direction, the thing moved, slowly at first. It turned its body slightly, as if it had realized it was no longer alone in that dark space. And then it started coming toward them, first walking, then accelerating. The sound of its limbs hitting the ground was irregular, strange, as if the body wasn't used to moving that way. Every step seemed wrong, out of the natural rhythm of any animal, and that's when my father understood. That was not a common creature. It couldn't be. Instinct screamed that it was something else. The friend pulled out a knife without thinking twice. The creature lunged, and the moment it got close enough, he struck. The blade hit, and the scream that came out of it was not from an animal. It was a mixed sound, human, torn, painful, desperate. A sound that shouldn't exist, that made their blood run cold in a way neither of them could explain afterward. It was pure fear, straight to instinct. The creature backed away, staggered, and then ran toward the forest. It disappeared into the dark as if it had never been there. Everyone woke up from the noise. They ran out of the shacks, still confused, trying to understand what had happened. They grabbed flashlights, searched, called out, but found nothing. No clear trail, no defined marks, no body, nothing that explained it. Just the dense forest, still, as if nothing had ever passed through it. But one thing was certain. Something had been injured that night, and that no one could ignore. After that event, the atmosphere in the camp was never the same. The silence gained another weight. Fear stopped being just a feeling and became the certainty that something was there, hidden, waiting for the right moment. After that night, the atmosphere in the camp was never the same. No one talked much, but no one slept well either. Any noise made someone wake up scared. Any stronger wind was enough reason to look outside, trying to see something in the dark. It was as if everyone was waiting for it to come back at any moment, even without saying it out loud. Fear had now become part of the routine. And maybe the strangest thing was that no one left, even afraid, even after what happened. It was as if something kept everyone there, trapped in that routine, in that isolated place. The next morning, the women started noticing something was wrong. They called each other, checked who was present, trying to organize the day. And then, silence came. One of them didn't show up, and that changed everything. Her name was Teresa. She had been there for quite some time. She was quiet, kept to herself, didn't get involved with anyone, but everyone knew her presence. And there was something curious about her. She was almost never seen at night. Always disappeared early, before the others. No one knew exactly where she went after that, but that never seemed important, until that moment. Now, everything was starting to make sense. They started looking for her, shack by shack, calling, checking inside, around, but nothing, no sign. Then they started observing the men. They wanted to see if anyone was injured, if anyone had been hit by the knife that night, but no one had cuts. No one had marks. No one had an explanation. And that's when fear changed form, because before, it was something in the forest. Now, it could be there. My father said that was the moment everything started to make sense. The creature, the strange size, the sound, the way it moved, the scream that wasn't entirely animal. And now, a missing person. No trace, no sign, no explanation. No one needed to say it out loud, but everyone understood. That wasn't just a creature. It never was. It was someone. Someone who had been there the whole time, watching. Living together, eating together, sleeping nearby. Watching in silence, without raising suspicion. Teresa was never seen again. They never found the body, never found blood, never found anything that explained her disappearance. And the strangest thing, after that day, the screams in the forest stopped. The noises ceased. The animals returned to normal, as if everything had simply stopped existing. As if it had gone away after being discovered. My father still worked there for a while, but he never went out alone at night again. He never ignored the silence again. He never doubted what he had seen again. That experience completely changed the way he saw the world. And even years later, when he told this story, you could tell that fear was still there. And he always said one thing that still gives me chills to this day. The problem isn't when you see the monster. It's when you realize it had already been close to you the whole time. That it talked to you, that it shared the same space. And that, for some reason, chose not to attack you, not at that moment. Not on that day. That was the part that scared the most when he said it. And sometimes, just thinking about it, I start imagining how many Teresas are still out there. Living like people, talking, working, waiting for the right moment to come out. Waiting for the moment when no one will notice. Because maybe we will never know how to identify it until it's too late. And that doubt, that uncertainty, is what really makes all of this even more terrifying. And be careful with what might be closer than you think. Not everything that seems normal really is. Sometimes, danger doesn't come from outside, but from those who are by your side every day. And when you realize that, there may no longer be time to react. Some things simply choose the right moment. And when that moment comes, no one is prepared. Good night.